The New York Times today is pointing out nominees considered in election years are actually usually confirmed. For example, Reagan and Judge Kennedy, who's still on the court. That was during an election year. And then you go back to Franklin Roosevelt, 1941. He had Murphy, who was confirmed during his lame duck year or his last year. It's really, Obama isn't really a lame duck until after the election. So, all this talk about Obama being a lame duck is just total BS. But in any case, since the last year of his term, and, he's into that 2/5 of his term, I guess, where he's not allowed to do anything because he already passed the 3/5. Franklin Roosevelt had Murphy and Herbert Hoover had Cardozo, and Woodrow Wilson had Clark and Brandeis, and William Taft had Pitney. Now, we're talking 1925 here, keep in mind, or the 1920s. Benjamin Harrison had Shiras. Rutherford B. Hayes had Woods. James Buchanan had Black. These were all confirmations. Oh, I'm sorry, Black was rejected. These are all confirmations in the last year of the presidency. John Tyler had Woolsworth and King. Andrew Jackson had Taney and Barber, which was kind of a mixed blessing. Tawney, actually, is how he pronounced his name, Taney. He's the guy who authored the Dred Scott decision. But, he got on the court in the last term of Andrew Jackson's term. Thomas Jefferson had Mr. Johnson. I think it was that Samuel Johnson on the Supreme Court? I'm not sure which one. And George Washington had 3 in the 8th year of his term: Ellsworth, Cushing, and Chase. So there's a huge precedent for this. But notice only one of those happened since the Eisenhower administration. That was Ronald Reagan and Kennedy, Justice Kennedy. And Justice Kennedy was actually nominated in Reagan's 7th year. He was just confirmed in the 8th year. But there was a confirmation in the 8th year. So listen carefully when Orrin Hatch says term-limited president. Because in the 1950s, Congress passed a constitutional amendment, and the states ratified, to limit the term of the president to 2 terms because they didn't want another FDR who served and was elected for 4 terms. He didn't fully serve his 4th term. Here is Orrin Hatch this morning on NPR.
Well, let's put it this way. The notion that lame duck presidents, judicial nominees, should not be confirmed during an election season is a well-established rule historically, and it was observed by both Republicans and Democrats. The Senate has never, in my review, allowed a term-limited president to fill a Supreme Court vacancy created this late in his term.
Never allowed a term-limited president. Did you catch that? See, presidents have only been term-limited since the 1950s. Before that, there was no term limits. Eisenhower was elected to 4. He was elected 4 times, 4 terms. So Orrin Hatch goes on NPR and uses these weasel words to basically lie to the American people. And nobody on NPR, of course, challenged him on it because you don't do that on NPR. You don't ever challenge Republicans, even when they lie right to your face. And so all over America, there's people who listen to NPR and think they're getting the straight scoop because NPR tells it straight. Right. This is making me crazy. To watch more clips from our programs, hit the Watch More Videos button over here. And please be sure to hit the handy-dandy subscribe button so you'll always be up to date. Tag, you're it.